Hey, this is Shannon Sellers. I have Show My Roots, and today I have Amy Barber Poole with me. And we're going to get into her story. A little back story is I've known Amy for about 27 years. I'm a hairdresser by trade, but I love being an advocate. I love education or helping people. I love mentoring and coaching. So me and Amy are teaming together for Amy's Fierce Fight. Amy used to come to me when she was graduating with high school. So I have seen her graduate high school. I have seen her get married. I have seen her have two amazing babies. I've seen her go through a divorce. I've seen her have some struggles with financial stuff, trying to get everything figured out. But no matter what Amy went through, the one thing that stood out to me was the fact that she never laid down and gave up. So let's fast forward to about June of last year. Amy was out delivering food for the needy people, and she was over my way, and she had stopped by a second, and I was like, wow. She had been battling some diabetes and had lost like 65 pounds, looking good, having plenty of energy, feeling great. Then come October, and I'm fixing to let her kind of take over some of her story of what happened, but in October, she started having some health issues, and just bear with us because some of the health issues she has makes it difficult to talk and get her sentences out sometime, but we feel like it's really important for you to know her story. So, Amy, if you want to, why don't you tell us, starting about October, kind of what was going on?
Okay. In October, I got sick. And during COVID and you go to the doctor, they automatically test you COVID.
Yes.
Before they will do anything, treat anything. So they did my initial test and it was negative. So doctors start me up a respiratory infection. I had 3 different antibiotics and 3 different rounds of steroids, and couldn't take 10 steps without gasping for air.
And when I tell y'all, Amy was like a ball of fire. She would help everybody. She did yard work, housework. She's about like us. We were laughing today, even had put up a pool at her mom's house.
Yeah, and I used to average at least 3 miles a day in walk time, because it get kind of addictive when you see how much you can walk and you want to walk just a little bit more next day.
Yeah, she said she would, do the tracking and on her phone or on her watch where she had done her steps, and would easily do 3 or more. And now it's, if you make a quarter of a mile every day.
Yeah, I've had really good day now if I make quarter a mile. But I got started having the heavy breathing treatments, and just fun fact for you, I had to religiously take them every 4 hours.
And I've took breathing treatments before. I used to have allergy-induced asthma years ago, and it'll almost make you feel like you're jumping out of your skin.
Well, that's the funny part.
It didn't?
Huh. I end up, my chest was beating very hard and couldn't catch my breath, and my hands were turning in, and my arms, my whole body went to immediate cramp. So the guys, when I say the guys, that means my son and my husband. And the guys call rescue. So rescue come in, and in a nutshell, nobody told me and that if you already had anxiety, and that it would what's the word? Magnify?
Intensify, make it worse.
Yeah, make it worse. And that was the first panic attack I ever had. And the rescue asked me, they say, well, we'd be glad to take you to the hospital. I said, no, thank you. I said, it's bad enough you here in me house, and you have waste your time, come over, because I had panic attack and nobody told me. So that just fun fact for you. But after that, continue to have issues and doctor determined, because the only test I got for COVID was before they treat me.
Okay.
Well, with any kind of flu test, COVID test, time and everything.
Yes.
So I never retested during all the time I had to do the different antibiotics and steroids. So my doctor said he was very convinced and that I had the latest strain. They call it strain.
Well, I don't
Whatever
know.
they call it.
Strand.
Yeah, there you go. Of COVID, and he felt like had I not had done the preventative care before I got sick, that probably would have died. So he said that he was confident I had COVID, and he was confident that I am a long hauler, which means you have complications from COVID, chronic extreme fatigue, one of them. And we've kind of tried to explore that route, and he referred me to university, long COVID, a long hauler clinic.
And that was a major university one.
Yeah, they would not approve my entry because I did not have a positive COVID test.
Even though he felt for sure with everything you were doing.
Yeah. My immune system shot. About midway December, I broke out shingles. It activated my chickenpox virus and had shingle my eye up top of my head.
You're fine. Go ahead.
And then got past that, and about middle December, I started getting bad headaches. Just astronomical pressure left side of my head. It first started in my temple, and then it started to include the temple and here, and then it started to include the cerebellum.
Okay.
And I went to neurologist, and they said everything fine. I've had every MRI, every CT scan you can think of. Neurologist kept giving me injections, cocktails, they call them, but it pretty stout drug, usually at 3, to try lay my headaches down. And long story short, we just spin wheels. I've had 3 nerve blocks in my head.
In the back of your neck.
And I've seen 2 different neurologists that label me what called conversion disorder. That generally what you get labeled when they don't know what's wrong with you. So they made me see a mental health counselor.
And how'd that go?
Oh, that one of my favorite appointments every week.
I'm sure you had some laughs.
Yeah, we have a good time, and I, by the way, have no mental issue whatsoever. She checked for conversion disorder. I do have traumatic stress, but it not considered post-traumatic stress because I'm still going through everything. and the traumatic stresses coming from having to go to all these different specialists try to find out what's wrong with me, and you get told the same thing, we find nothing.
For me, it would have to be absolutely frustrating because you're living inside your body. You
Yeah.
know things are not right. When I tell y'all she come flying in the house, and now, honestly, she has to have help getting up the steps because, like she was showing you with her arms a while ago, when she's tired, her feet turn in.
Yeah. And I tripped myself.
And I mean, her balance and stuff is not as well. So I imagine for me that would have to be absolutely frustrating. You know something's wrong, but nobody can find it.
And then, funny story, they put me physical therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to do all these tests when you go in. And I had a really funny guy, by the way.
Yeah.
And he did all these tests, and he said, okay, he had one of them belts on, so I'm not flat my face. And he said, okay, he said, I'm going to get you walk, and then I'm going to tell you command. So he said, okay, go ahead, start walking. So I'm walking. And he said, look up. So I do my eyes like that. He said, no, that's not what I mean. He said, look up. I said, that's not a good idea.
Oh, really?
And he made me do that. He made me look left. He made me look right. He made me look down. The only time I didn't have to be grabbed by a belt was when I looked down, could see my feet. But he finished his evaluation, and he said, I'm going to be honest with you. He said, and don't drink drive. You can't pass
the test even sober.
Yeah. So that funny. But anyway, I've seen infectious disease university. I've seen pulmonologists who I continue to see because I have developed asthma from the COVID. I do see heart doctor because I have bad family heart history. And that check out okay too. They made me walk treadmill and I could not even breathe.
Oh Lord.
And then you think, oh my God, I want to really die before I get off here. I'm very close. But finally, I guess they felt sorry.
And they slowed it on down.
Yeah, they let me stop. And then they tell you hold your breath. So then take your picture. And I'm thinking, how me hold my breath? I can't breathe. So I've had some funny journeys. But the biggest change point in my life was February. About mid-February. A friend of mine, a chiropractor. And I called him because he's held me before in my back. And I called him. I said, I need to come see you. I need you to try to make my migraines go away. Nothing else working. And long story short, I went over 5 weeks, same migraine.
Just a constant, nonstop.
Yeah. So I go to Dr. C, and he knew me. He knew my work ethic. He knew my physical shape
that you were in.
Right. He knew my mental capacity, multitask, smart. And honestly, think first time he saw me, he really take back. Because he like, whoa, what's happening? So I told him out there, please make my migraine go away. And he said, I want to check a few things. So he hold this weird chart all, it looked like had little, like I fixed something, give me scratch off it. And you scratch it off. But you could tell they numbers in them little circles. So he held up and he'd make you read this, and this. And needless to say, I didn't do too good. So then he said, started put vials in my hand, like he held one, and then he has lead tests, see how your body respond, and my chiropractor, he not just chiropractor, he is a biologist.
That's right.
So after he get finished do his thing, and I'm thinking, I not really know what's going on. I ain't never experienced nothing like that in my life. And he said, I'm gonna be honest with you. He said, I think you are battling Lyme disease. I said, too sure.
Like everything else was going on.
Right. But he said the biology side of it is, and they finding that they not know what COVID really do to your body. And it wipe your immune system out when you sick as I was.
So everything attacks.
So it does. And then anything that you've had dormant, whether you knew existed or not, is coming life, because your immune system gone, so make perfect breeding ground
for it to start flaring up.
So that's why I broke out with the shingles, because I carried chickenpox virus. I had them very bad. I grew up on a farm.
Yeah.
We played in the creek, we played in the woods, we rode four-wheelers.
Bar tobacco.
We did it all. And you get three-wheeler, and then not time to plant something, and you make your little dunes so you can jump on with your...
Well, you've always done yard work, worked in your yard, worked in your mama's yard.
Mm-hmm. So, he suggested I take what's called a PCR test. And CDC testing, let me back up a little bit. CDC testing, very inaccurate here. Majority of the people that have Lyme with co-infections like myself never test positive.
So it's kind of missed.
Yeah. Oftentimes very, very misdiagnosed. MS.
Yes.
Epstein-Barr. Parkinson's disease.
Yes.
All those things sometimes are what you diagnose with. When you get infected originally with Lyme, it is in your bloodstream.
Okay.
But its first line of defense is to move out.
So
because it like tissue.
Okay.
It like goes somewhere in your brain. It loves your organs in your brain. So it can form and breed. Mine been dormant. Realistically, kind of have come from tick head. Tick that can be small as pinhead. So chances are never knew
it.
I was always a healthy kid. Fairly healthy dog. Try to stay on top of it. So we decided to pay the money. Anybody interested how PCR tests work, you can go to DNAconnections.com, but it's connections with an X.
Okay.
It gives very good explanation of what it is, but it's urine based, and they take you sample, they divide half, because they run identical tests twice, confirm.
Okay.
And mine came back positive for Borrelia. I can't pronounce the other big word behind
You better
it.
me, because I can't pronounce either one of them.
And it come back with Bartonella. And we have found that I have Babesia, is how I say it, is thrown in the mix as well. I do nothing half-hearted.
If you're gonna have it, you're gonna have the whole case of it.
So why should this be any different? So basically, one by themselves very hard to lay down, but I have the three worst kinds.
And it's sort of like we were talking earlier, like I talked about, for everybody that can't, understand the Lyme disease. It's sort of like when you're trying to eat healthy and you're a diabetic with cholesterol and blood pressure issues. A lot of times there's things that helps one, but then you're counteracting the other.
Right.
And it's kind of like this. It's hard to attack all three, so you're having struggles.
Right.
So what we're going to do is we're going to start doing some little videos for her journey as to keep on with the whole journey of what's going on, and each time we're going to start addressing some of the things that I think people do not understand.
Yeah, there's a lot of people will not understand because most people know somebody that have Lyme here, and normal protocol just short span antibiotic and it gone. But generally, that for people that are fortunate enough to find the tick,
yeah,
and watch, and most time have bullseye,
yeah.
The fever, the chill, that kind of stuff. And those generally is the ones that are fortunate enough to show the CDC test and get antibiotic. And I'm not gonna lie, there's so much of this I not understand.
Well, me neither, but like me and Amy were talking earlier, the Lyme disease is sort of like a cancer.
And it is.
There's a lot of unknowns, and just because it attacks somebody one way does not mean that's everybody the same way. I've seen people have leukemia that has had treatment and done great. Then I've seen people have it that's died. I mean, just because you do the same course of treatment doesn't mean everybody's body is going to take it the same.
Right. It kind of like chemo, good example. Some people can tolerate chemo and some people can't.
Right.
And when you get to Lyme and co-infections, the way it affects my body, I in the later stages and what they classify as chronic Lyme.
Okay.
We believe that the Bartonella is hanging out in my head.
This giving you the
neurological.
There you go.
I just tell you, some days I just tell you how the wonky donkey.
Yeah.
They kid book called a wonky donkey. If you never read it, you should read it, but the challenge is read it without laughing.
Oh.
But I never know from day to day what kind of day me gonna have. But a lot of unknown. But I'm not supposed to know everything.
It's not always our plan, whether we like it or not. It's not always ours.
Right.
So what we're going to do is kind of finish this one up, but what we're going to do is have part 2. Since Amy is doing not as traditional because insurance won't pay for it because the guidelines, and that'll be the next talk.
Yeah.
Yes, we're going to.
That'll be a fun one.
Yeah. We'll try to do a good talk without getting in trouble. There you go.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. So we are going to do some fundraising and some awareness and go over some objections and some stuff, explain some stuff. So we look forward to letting you know. Again, it's Amy's Fierce Fight, and we will watch out. We're coming back for number 2.
Thank you.